Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are going to be exploring the best way to apply foundation. I know that for like makeup beginners, foundation can be kind of intimidating and kind of like a scary thing to dabble into. So I'm just gonna go over the easiest way to apply it to make it look most natural and just so you're not as scared of it as you might be if you're starting out with foundation. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I do, which is not a necessary step, but I do feel like it does make the foundation last longer, and that first thing is to prime. So I have some of my favorite primers right here that I'm going to be using today. The first one I'm going to go into is the Tarte Double Duty Base Tape Hydrating Primer, and this is just a sample size. It looks like this. And I like to go into a hydrating primer or moisturizer, and then a pore minimizing primer next, just to minimize your pores and kind of make it give it more, oh my gosh, give it more of a like matte finish. So I just go into that, and if you have the time, let these kind of sink in to your skin for a little bit longer than I'm going to, but just for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna kind of go quickly through these steps. And the next thing I do is go into that pore minimizing primer. So this is the Magic Perfecting Base by L'Oreal, and I will just apply this to the areas that kind of break up my with my foundation throughout the day. So like the center of my face is where that is for me. And then I'll just kind of like pat the rest of it into the entire face. Once you're done with that, you can go into the foundation. You can also color correct before this step if you feel like you need to. I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to go into my foundation. So this foundation is one of my favorites. It is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Foundation. And I'm going to use this for today's video just because I know it works really well for my skin. This is more of a matte foundation, meaning it doesn't have as much like glowy and luminosity to it as some foundations do. If you are looking for a good glowy one, I recommend this one from L'Oreal. It's the Infallible 24-Hour Wear. I just am more of a matte finish kind of girl, so that's why I'm going to go into my Makeup Revolution one. And it just depends how you want to apply this. Because it has like a doe foot applicator, whereas some of the foundations I have like pumps, and then you might have to dot it on your face, but for this you have that like dotter right on. So what I'll do is just start going into the foundation and building it up. Oops. And what I love about this foundation is buildable, so you can start with like a lighter layer and then just add wherever you think you need a little more coverage. And you do not have to put as much foundation as I do. I just like a lot if I'm going to be doing my makeup. So there's probably 3 ways you can apply your foundation. Some people apply it with their fingers. Others use a brush, and like typically like a buffing brush like this guy. Or you can use a sponge, which is what I prefer. So this is the Morphe sponge. I love this sponge. It's super affordable. You can find it at Ulta or the Morphe store online. And I just feel like a sponge blends it out and you don't get any like brush strokes, which is the disadvantage of using a brush. So all I do is I'll take the flat side of the sponge and just start pressing this into my skin. You don't want to streak it. That's going to just take away the product and it's going to soak into the sponge more. So just start pressing it into the skin, and I do blend it like a teeny bit on my ears just so it doesn't look like a harsh line. And then I do pounce some down my neck so I don't have like a streak mark. And then just make sure it's evenly spread out. You don't have any like lines. That's the main goal with this. So there's one layer of this Makeup Revolution foundation. And I think I'm just going to add a little bit more to my cheek area, and then I will show you how to like finish up the foundation look and extra steps you can take. So I'm just going to add a teeny bit more to my cheek area. And I should also mention, with the sponge, you do want to wet it first. So you'll just kind of run it under a sink and then get it nice and wet. And then you're going to want to squeeze out all the excess. So there should be no water coming out of it when it's done. It just should be nice and damp. And that's very important, because if you don't wet it, it's going to be like hard and it won't blend as well as it is for me right now. And I'll be like, what the heck? Woo! What is that from? Okay, so I like how this is looking. So after this step, I will go into concealer, but I'm going to skip that for this video. I'm just going to conceal real quick, and I'll come back and show you how you can set the face so the foundation will last. Okay, we're all concealed underneath my eyes. So the next step with your foundation, and to make it last longer, is to set it with a powder. So you don't necessarily have to do this step if you like how it looks, but I do feel like this step locks it in longer. So your options for this, you can either use one or the other or both. So it just depends how excessive you want to be. So I would recommend using a translucent setting powder or a pressed foundation powder, or you can use both if you want more coverage. So I'm just going to show you how you could use both, and then you can kind of decide for yourself. One's going to give you more of a lightweight look, and the other is going to give you a more full coverage look. So if you're going in to first the translucent powder, you can still use your sponge. And I love using like just the same tool, because then you don't have to, like, if you're doing this like in the car, not while you're driving, or you know, like in the bathroom at work, you don't have to pack as much. So I will go in to the powder directly with my sponge and just start setting my entire face with this powder. And this powder is the Lancome Long Time No Shine powder. It's a little pricey, but it does give you a lot. If you are looking for an affordable option, I would recommend the Maybelline Fit Me loose powder. It is so good, just as good. Okay, so there's what it looks like. Let me see how, with everything set, and it just looks so much more smooth than it would with just the foundation, just because it's like a wet consistency, so it needs to be set. But you could also add a little more coverage and go into a pressed powder, or a pressed foundation powder. And I'm going to use this one from Maybelline. It is the Fit Me pressed powder. So I'm just going to go into a big fluffy brush and then add this on top. So like I said, you could do one or the other, or you could do both. And just to show you, I'm going to do both. Typically, I will just use the translucent powder. And this, a pressed powder is great for like more coverage. So like, let's say I wanted to cover up this zit a little more. I could go in with the translucent powder, and then on that specific spot, I could apply a little bit more of this powder, just so it's nice and concealed. Okay, so that is it for the powder. So now you are good to go. I will typically add bronzer, blush, and highlight, and I will finish up my lower lash line, but you could easily just do like the foundation and mascara and be perfect for the day. So I'm going to finish everything up, and then I'll come back and end this video. Alright guys, so I went ahead and finished up my face makeup, put on some blush and bronzer and highlight and lipstick. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you have any questions about like foundation recommendations, any tool recommendations you have, I will link everything I used in this video in the description box. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video, and I will see you in my next video soon. Bye guys.